for Blumpkin and Friends, starring your host, the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin.
Hey kids, I'm the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin, and with me today is my friend...
Geo Fry. That's my name.
That's his name. I'm just going to call you G, because it's way easier.
That's actually... Yeah,
kind of like what the Fresh Prince called Joffrey the Butler.
Okay. Yeah, no, that was my nickname in middle school, so I thought I'd
Geo Fry.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Today's episode is all about martial arts, because I have taken a vested interest in it. G here got me into some good movies. He introduced me who Donnie Yen was in the Yip Man series, and I've become quite a fan of his work. But because we both had an interest in video games, and he's been a martial artist his entire life, and he'll tell us all about that, but that's how we got to be close friends. So start out by telling us about your history in martial arts from the beginning, early as possible.
Sure. I would say I started when I was 12 years old. I remember I was back in 7th grade, and I was in a private school, and one of the instructors, one of the pastors was worried about fights because it's 7th grade, people are starting to get a little bit more, testosterone filled. Yeah, correct. And he decided, hey, let's I'm a brown belt in Kempo. Let's give that a shot. And got a class together, and we all tried Kempo for 2 days. And
2 days?
I was addicted for like two class periods, like over the course of 2 days. So like,
I gotcha.
Instead of like what we called, PE, we would go for gym class. It would be today and tomorrow. We're gonna do Kempo instead. It was a lot of fun, and I still remember the first move I ever learned too. But that got me on a kick, and I was obsessed after that, and I would buy every book that I could get my hands on, or that my parents would allow me to buy, because I was like, 12, 13 at the time. So after a few years, I turned 15, so this is, I think, maybe 2-3 years in the future, I actually started getting money, and decided to start an actual class. So I started training in the Bujinkan, which is a feudal Japanese system. They would say like samurai sword, stuff like that, like traditional.
So if you ever played the game Bushido Blade, that's what he's talking about. The code of Bushido.
Yeah. And ended up doing that for about 4 years. I had a ton of fun doing it, met really good friends that I'm still friends with. So I did that till I was about 19 years old.
He will kill you with a sword.
The joke was that we trained so much with swords because they're so common. You're totally gonna get in like an alleyway fight with a guy with a sword at the other end. It's not realistic. So after about 4 years, I just kind of, being 15 and then turning into 19, you kind of mature. You have a different aspect on life, and I wanted to go into law enforcement. And obviously, we met each other in a jail. So
we did.
I did need to learn something a little different. So I branched out, and I kind of just had my last class where my instructor looking at me and going, you need to ask yourself why you're here. Why are you here? What is your intention? And what are you planning to do with this art? If it's for historical purposes, go ahead. If it's for internal purposes, go ahead. But you need to listen to yourself and figure out what you want to do with this. And I didn't know. I didn't have an answer. I was 19 at the time. I didn't have an answer for that question. So I left I didn't go back after that class. I still am in contact with him too. Really nice guy. And I would totally recommend his class if I were. I don't even know if we can advertise him on here.
Why not?
Brooklyn Park dojo. But I mean, if your listeners want to know about it, it's very, private class. If they want to know about it, they can email me or you about it and get them info. So after that, I tried, what order did I do this? I tried Krav Maga for 3 months. I think that's what I did immediately after, was Krav Maga for about 3 months. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, only because of Sherlock Holmes, and then some people are like, is that even a real thing? It was not a thing, and then it became a thing?
Yeah. So Krav Maga is a Israeli defense system.
It's what they train their own military fighters in for hand combat. It's badass.
Yeah. The one in Minneapolis, the one that my experience was not very much so. I know the Minneapolis guys can be pretty good, but I've heard different. I mean, if you go to Israel, it's amazing. Over here, I wasn't as impressed, but that's because of possibly the instructor. I wouldn't downplay it in any way. I know it's an effective system. After that, I did Wing Chun for about 3 months.
Talk about that real quick. If you don't know what Wing Chun is, it was developed by Yip Man and passed down to Bruce Lee.
Yep. Bruce Lee then used that art to
Jeet Kune Do.
Jeet Kune Do. So Jeet Kune Do, I learned a little bit of that too, and I'll get into that also. But Jeet Kune Do is a type of system where you take what's the philosophy is you take what's working and then you apply that, and then you discard what's useless. So and I love that because I learned so many different arts throughout. I tasted so many throughout the years that I ended up just using what I like. So I did Wing Chun for 3 months with this amazing instructor. Trained out, I think, St. Paul it was, and the most relaxed guy you've ever met. He wouldn't even wear like a traditional Chinese garb to these classes. He would wear basketball shorts and a sleeveless shirt.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I remember his exact words to me were, "So if you get into a fight and you got to use Wing Chun, use Wing Chun. But if you don't need to use it or you don't want to use it, and the technique that you want to use isn't Wing Chun, and it's the best for the situation, you don't got to use it." It was very, most people are very, you got to adhere to the art.
I thought where you were going with that is he's going to say, if you're going to get into a fight, you're not going to be wearing a fucking gi, which is why I'm wearing these goddamn Converse All-Stars and these gym shorts.
He
because
did.
I'm most likely to be in street clothes.
He was actually wearing Converse. I'm not even joking with you right now.
That's what I thought you were going to say was his point about that. Statistically speaking, you're not going to be in a dojo when a fight breaks out. You're going to be somewhere out in public, and you're going to want to be dressed comfortably.
Yeah. And, I mean, historically, if you were, gis were underwear. It was just undergarments to what they usually wore.
Why?
So then after Wing Chun, went to an MMA class, and I did that for about a year and a half. Did MMA for a year and a half, so I did jiu-jitsu, and it was kind of a loose touch on Thai boxing, but I did that. About a year and a half, I had so much fun doing that. I got my clock cleaned, so I learned really fast how actual fights go down.
Ow!
And I say that loosely, because, I mean, it's not... Being in a dojo is not like being in the street, but I was getting punched at, jabbed at, tackled by people. I remember, without the risk of sounding offensive here, I remember the hardest I got hit in that class, too, by a lesbian cage fighter. Gave me one of the hardest right hooks I've ever gotten hit with.
Right in the mush?
Yeah.
She caught you right in the jaw, huh?
Yeah. I remember I got hit, and everyone in the background, got hit, and yeah, I was like, you win. So I did that for about a year and a half, and moved on after that. After that, then I found out there was this class for Filipino Kali. I don't know if you're familiar with that, Eskrima.
I've heard of it.
Okay.
That's about it.
Okay. So I contacted this instructor, ex-Navy guy, trains cops. He's got like a fitness degree or something like that, for like kinesiology or whatever. And he's a kettlebell instructor and the DT instructor and baton instructor, Banadnak baton instructor, all these things. And I called him up and I said, hey, I want to train with you. And he said, yeah, sure. I have kind of my own little thing going. I don't have anybody. I just posted that thing, so you're the first person to call me. And me and two other guys went out there and trained with him. And one of the most talented instructors I've ever met. And I learned a ton from him. So he didn't just do Kali. He did Kali, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, Wing Chun, Silat. And he would combine all those together. And with also Jeet Kune Do. So I learned Jeet Kune. I learned all those things.
Did he come up with a name for his own system, or was it just a mix of all?
It was, so where he trained at in Los Angeles with none other than Bruce Lee's best friend, Dan Inosanto. So he went to Dan Inosanto's academy in Los Angeles, moved to Minnesota, and got more instructorships from Minnesota Kali over here, and got all these instructorships. Came and taught us in his own little, because he's also a kettlebell instructor. That was his main job, was doing kettlebell and fitness and all this other stuff. And then I didn't really know anything about fitness at the time, or kettlebells, and he beat me down with that too. So went to this place with two other buddies, and we just trained, and I had so much fun. I ended up like the traditional martial artist nowadays is going to train once a week, twice a week. I was going 3 to 4 times a week. I was single at the time. I had a 9 to 5 job, so I was going 3 to 4 times a week, getting up at 6 a.m. to go.
A lot easier when you've got a work schedule and no family to deal with.
I know. Yeah, it's changed now. So.
Oh, bitch.
Yeah, so I trained in that for about 2 years, and it's one of those systems where you get good fast. So I got proficient. I would, in my mind, proficient. I don't know. I'm in my instructor's mind, my Sifu's mind, I was, okay. But for me, it was proficient because I felt like I was understanding the movements a lot better. Because and to backtrack a little bit, hopefully I'm not talking too much.
I'm shaking my head no. I know this radio and you can't see me. I'm shaking my head no. Go on.
So, to backtrack, I trained in the Bujinkan for 4 years, right? When I told you that 4 years, that sounds like a long time, right? I was 15 when I started. I have never been in a fight. Never was going to be in a fight. I'm like one of the nicest guys you can confirm. Like, I'm not a very mean person.
He's very soft-spoken.
Yes.
Very easygoing.
And I'm not going to get into a fight. So I never got to apply the 4 years of training here. So when I tried to use it in this MMA, and the MMA was kind of a proving ground for me. When I tried to use it, it just didn't work. Not to say that the art doesn't work, it just didn't work for me. And one of the jiu-jitsu brown belts was like, where did you train before here? And I kind of told him about it. He's like, dude, if you've been going for 4 years and you're not getting anything out of it, you got to change it. You're expecting a different result by doing the same thing. I ended up training with this new instructor, learning Wing Chun and Kali and having a ton of fun. And he would pressure test it. He would have us put on gloves and a helmet, not a helmet like a bicycle, but like a padded helmet, and we would beat the piss out of each other.
It'd be funnier if he had you wear a bike helmet.
He wore a bike
Honey,
helmet.
there's a couple of retards fighting. They're fighting in the park right now. Get a load of this shit. Holy Christ, look at the way they're fucking going at each other. They must be fighting over the last fucking macaroon.
Oh, I was kind of happy that we did this in a private place, because I have trained in places where we train out in the park. And, I mean, how would you feel if you're jogging around the corner and you just see a bunch of guys in black gis
kicking the shit out of each other?
So we run a samurai sword.
We are moving. These fucking Asian gangs are getting nuts. This is some bullshit, and you better go pack all of your jewelry right now. I am getting the for sale by owner sign by tomorrow. It's happening. Start looking around.
And you'd be surprised, I was like the only Asian guy in most of these classes, too. It's a bunch of white dudes.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
The only Asian guy.
The only Asian guy.
Which, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, and then after that, he moved back to Los Angeles. Yeah, he moved back to California to be with his... he got married, moved to Los Angeles. We're still friends. We still contact each other. I even told him that I was doing this. And he was like, hey, awesome, that's so cool, because I learned so much from him. I would recommend him. I'd recommend any instructor that I've been with, too. So after that, I kind of was got married, had a kid, and was on kind of, not a dry spell, but just kind of learning, like kind of applying what I've learned, because now I have a job.
Buddy, shut the fuck up! Stop it! You stop scratching the box. Fuck yourself. That's a running bit.
Come on.
It really fucking happens. It's not like I'm getting the
you should
cat
keep that
to do
in
it.
there.
I do keep it in there. It's in like a bunch of episodes of me screaming at the fucking cat because the son of a bitch is always meowing, scratching at the door, scratching at the wall. I didn't put enough sawdust in the cat box. Now he's still scratching at the wall because he must feel it's not good enough. So in terms of that, he got to show me some of that stuff. There was one day he came over and I was beating on the punching bag, and he showed me, like, we worked on some Wing Chun stuff for like 5-10 minutes, nothing major. But there was the last time we had defensive tactics for work together. And I'm very happy to tell this story. So we're wrestling around on the mat.
Oh, no,
and our instructor was like, okay, quit screwing around. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. He won't stop. I'm just trying to stop from getting hurt. I'm just defending myself, not trying to screw around. So fast forward about 10 minutes later, we're working on like ground fighting tactics of holding somebody down. And he's on top holding me down. And for whatever reason, I went to adjust my head. And I don't know what he was thinking. So he lays his forearm across my throat. And my Adam's apple pops like a knuckle being cracked. And I lost my voice for 2 weeks. I was like worried that I injured a vocal cord, and they sent me to like doctor on work comp to get my shit checked out.
You
I had to
didn't
go
tell
to,
me about that.
Oh yeah, dude. I had to go to like 3 appointments to make sure I was going to get my voice
What?
back.
I'm sorry. I didn't even know I did that to
Yeah,
you.
I was fine like that later on that day. I'm like, it kind of hurts to swallow a little. But by the next night, I was talking like this. And we have to yell a little bit at work. And I sounded like I had a fucking tracheotomy. And yeah.
Are you picturing it? I'm picturing it.
So there was that. So I've seen the power of what he can do. If by accident only.
By accident.
It happened. So now, I, being a fan of martial arts, but never having been in it myself, because my folks never gave me the option. They put me in soccer, and that sucked. And they put me in Little League, and I was bad at it. And then they bought a lake place, and then I didn't get to do anything but basketball, because basketball was in the winter when they weren't up at the lake place. Nobody ever showed me karate, and they should have. They should have put me in karate or something, because I had so much energy, and I got into so many fights, and it probably would have taught me to keep my cool better than I did, because I was always throwing down as a kid in elementary school.
Now, if I may interject, when people say karate, they don't really know what type of karate. Because and to even go even farther down the line here, because I told you my first experiences when I was in 7th grade, correct?
Yes. That was Kenpo.
Yeah, Kenpo. So before that, I begged my parents to take me to a karate class. I remember this. And I stepped in there, and I recall, you know, we didn't have enough money for the karate class because karate is expensive. And I'll touch on that too. But we did kickboxing instead because that's all I could afford. So I did kickboxing for like 2 classes, and it was attached to a karate dojo, same instructors. And this was strip mall karate. And if you go into the martial arts, like how like the subculture, we would call that a McDojo.
Yeah, that's pretty much what most people see as karate, is going to some strip mall little mini dojo that's run next to, like, there's one in Blaine next to the Cub Foods. There's Premier Karate off of Hanson across from the sheriff's station.
Everywhere.
Fucking everywhere.
Yeah, and that's the problem, because actual karate is amazing, is powerful, but they watered it down. And now we have this American strip mall karate that, you know, people are thinking that they're learning something useful, and they're really throwing their money away. And I do not feel bad at all saying that. And if you've learned strip mall karate, you're wrong. I mean, it's something that you should never, ever waste your time doing.
So that's why I decided in my infinite wisdom to get my oldest involved in karate, and I've talked about this. Mm-hmm. And she did community ed karate, and she just wrapped up her last session of the beginner class last night. And at the end, there was a sign-up sheet for the returning class at a different place. So she's going to do that in the summer. Attached to that was the opportunity for adult karate. Mm-hmm. So that's what I did today, is I went and signed myself up for my first 8-week karate class. And it's going to be once a week for an hour and a half at some park. And I'm going to go to this little, like, city park building. And I don't know, it's going to be me and God knows who else.
Do you get a gi? Please tell me you get a gi.
I'm not going to wear a gi. It says you can wear loose clothing. I'm going to fucking wear gym shorts, because I'm not going to statistically be dressed up like I'm going to a karate tournament all the time. That's like $30 for the gi. And what if it turns out that this is not to my liking?
Think about it. The most likely time you'll get the crap kicked out of you, okay, is when you're wearing a gi after class, going to Subway, and people are, oh, look at this karate man.
Well,
here.
1, I would never wear it in public. 2, I don't go to Subway because they suck. And 3, looking at my natural demeanor of my resting asshole face, most people don't normally approach me unless I talk to them first. And even then, they seem nervous.
Yeah.
My face is stuck this way. Me and Jeremy Renner, we're just always like, I don't do it on purpose to look badass. It's just fucking stuck that way.
And then there's me, where as soon as I start talking to somebody, they just tell me their life story and all the problems that they have. It's actually a nuisance, but whatever.
Maybe you've got one of those I care, tell me everything that's going wrong faces.
You know, I used to work in sales in Brooklyn Center, and it was the worst, because people would always just come up and just talk to, like, you know, yeah, I got to buy this part here. There was an auto sales shop. I got to buy this alternator, and now I can't pay my mortgage. And they would tell me about their divorce.
And I'm currently thinking about making a new edit to my suicide note so that it's more impactful for when she finds it. The bitch! You dirty bitch. You'll fucking see. My car might run, but I'll be gone. So you can drive it. You can drive it to my funeral, and then you can fuck yourself, you bitch. Take the dog. So now, when your daughter, who is almost 2?
Yeah, 2.
Okay, so a few years from now, Are you thinking you're going to want to introduce her to martial arts? Have you talked about it with the wifey, or is she going to want to stick her in like dance or something foo-foo and girly?
You know, I know you know this about me. So I met my wife dancing. So I've also been an accomplished dancer. I feel accomplished. I don't know if it's really.
I've seen him dance.
So that was about. I met my wife not 6 years ago. Years ago, but I started dancing when I was like 6 years ago.
That's good. An ambiguous number is a good way to not get in trouble with her for not knowing the number of years.
Exactly.
And now that I've said that, she's going to hear this, and you'll be in trouble anyway.
To protect the privacy of our love. Anyway, and they go well together actually, because when you use footwork drills, you need to be able to do footwork drills. Dancing incorporates itself really well with that, so they go hand in hand. But to answer your question, yes. On both accounts, she can learn dance if she wants. She can learn martial arts if she wants. It's up to her. I would feel better if she learned something. It would make me feel better, especially if she goes out to college or something like that. But it's not, it's not the end all. The end all is a firearm, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, kinda.
But and after the martial arts thing, after training with that instructor that taught me Kali for 2 years, and that's still a part of my system. I work in a place where I go hands-on with a lot of people now. And I get to apply this stuff, and I get to see what works, what doesn't. And then I also, after that, I also learned some Bagua, Tai Chi.
Because I'm tight.
Yeah, I know. Whenever I tell somebody, oh yeah, I'm going to go to a Bagua class. What? Yeah, they don't know. That's okay. Chinese, it goes hand in hand with Tai Chi. It's a very internal art. But I just thought it might be fun to try. And now I've just been concentrating on just fitness now, just being able to run longer than 5 minutes, strength training, things like that, because you need to be able to get stronger. And as one of my favorite shirts says, stronger people are harder to kill.
They are. Just look at Predator. Yeah, Dutch was huge, and that Predator was like mud. Where did you go? Where are you? Where are you? I don't. Oh, son of a bitch must have left.
Tell me more about this karate class.
I don't know. I just know that the
your
sensei's name is Steve, and I know nothing about it. Now I'm just going to walk into it and hope that I'm the coolest guy there, so nobody makes fun of me, because I'm thinking it's going to be a lot of like really fucking nerdy people.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for the. No. So God, you have a Dr. Hibbert from The Simpsons laugh going today. You've got cancer.
I'll change it for you.
So, like with my daughter's karate class now, the Juice, she had 7 sessions, and then last night they were doing some sparring stuff where they just put on the gloves and they kind of bop at each other. Nothing major. They got to be a 2nd-degree white belt through doing this.
Oh, wow.
But if she follows through with the beginner, the returner, and the advanced, I think she gets all the way up to 2nd or 3rd-degree yellow belt.
Okay.
If you don't know your belts, white, yellow, orange, purple, blue, green, brown, black.
It depends.
In Kenpo Karate, place. That's what it is.
Yeah.
My class is going to be adult Kenpo, hers is youth Kenpo. That's what we're going with, because there is a Taekwondo studio, but it's in the strip mall by Walgreens down there. And they advertise all the time. And they also do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu classes there and all that shit.
Yeah, World Taekwondo.
If I had more time, I would totally do it. But I have these 2 kids that like food and go into the park. And it's like, sit down by the window, let me do kung fu stuff, fucking leave me alone. I will be a ninja.
I actually looked up that guy's background. And he is Taekwondo instructor for however many years. And then I think he's also a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is awesome.
Pretty good.
Instructor level. And then he's also, I think he's doing Krav Maga also. I think he's a certified Krav Maga instructor. But I think it's just after Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu got so popular years ago, like we started getting the UFC and all these other things. And now if you look on YouTube, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu versus anything, you just see Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu destroy any art that it goes up against. So now we're seeing more arts incorporate that into their system and going, well, we have an answer to ground fighting, so we're going to try it too. And now just everyone's kind of jumping on the bandwagon.
You should have that, though. You should combine that with your grappling and striking to be more well-rounded.
Yeah.
Speaking of well-rounded, you know who's one of the most well-rounded martial artists I've ever seen?
Donnie Yen.
Well, yeah, Donnie Yen. But I was going to say Ryu of Street Fighter. This is where I segue into video games.
Awesome.
Where are martial arts best showcased in video games, we're talking Art of Fighting. We're talking, they had Bushido Blade, which, did showcase the Bushido style. Street Fighter is the one that most people know. Mortal Kombat is another one. And as Mortal Kombat progressed, they actually had different styles that you could switch between per character. So they're showcasing more of the arts and also Tekken.
Yep.
So all those in mind, what is your favorite?
I remember when I was first starting in the Bujinkan, I was playing Mortal Kombat, and it was one of the newer games at the time, and you could play as each character, and you could switch between 3 styles. I remember it was like 2 or 3 styles, and I remember
Deadly Alliance.
I think it was Cyrax, the yellow robot.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Cyrax?
Yeah.
He had ninjutsu, and I was so excited, and I pulled it up, started playing it, and Cyrax has the perfect. It was one of the ninjutsu stances. I think it was Shoshin. I'm not sure.
Nobody knows what that means, but go on.
That's all right. Well, maybe there's another list.
I hope they will start Googling stuff. That's why I do these weird off-kilter episodes. Like, we talked about weightlifting a few episodes ago, and now we're talking about martial arts.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, this is like a Mr. Rogers meets Pee-wee's Playhouse aesthetic with a little bit of game show built in. Yeah.
But yeah, I had a ton of fun playing as Cyrax. But yeah, I remember watching all of these styles, and not all of them were true to it, but one of my instructors was actually asked to be a part of a video game because they were asking around for who could do this.
For motion capture?
Yes, that's exactly. And they were going to have all the little balls all over his body, whatever, to capture. Yeah, I know, right? And I think it fell through. I don't know what game it was for.
Oh.
I know, but he is a very amazing movement. Very scary guy. One of the only people I'm scared of.
Really?
I am very... When I mean afraid, I mean like I just know this guy is really scary. And he's
like he literally will tear you apart without even breaking a sweat or taking a breath.
Actually, yeah.
That's comforting.
Yeah, I know.
It's got to be nice going on a date with him.
What a gentle guy.
Would you like to go see this movie?
He's going to be a doctor
now. No. What do you mean no? We are fucking going to see that, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Your hair looks lovely this evening.
Even when we're training, it's just effortless for him, and it was amazing.
Guy's got to be like a fucking machine.
Oh yeah.
So for me, it's going to go Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Mortal Kombat 3, Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks, if you ever played that one, which was like the actual...
A long time ago, but
long
yes.
game adventure with Kung Lao and Liu Kang.
Kung Lao is my favorite.
I will go Tekken 3, and I forget which one of the Art of Fighting games it was, but I have like an Art of Fighting Legacy compilation, and I love that shit. And the fucking... I don't know who designs these games with these button sequences in mind, but it is ridiculous. So I take the D-pad and go from back to toward to back and up and left, and then hit B, X, A, Y, and you know what? I can't play these. I can't play them. That's why I still have to play Super Nintendo to play fighting games so that I can play Street Fighter 2 Turbo and Mortal Kombat 3 or Mortal Kombat 1 and 2. And I just want to know that the way that you take down Goro so easily in MK1, where you just do jump kick after jump kick, how bad would somebody have to be if that's how you beat them in a fight? Can you imagine like you go to a competition and that's what it takes?
Yeah.
That's as bad as sweep the leg. That's terrible.
Well, they're exploiting a weakness. But I mean, when did that not work in a fighting game?
Yeah,
I remember. Yeah, I remember verses, and you just crouch down and kick, crouch kick. I'd piss off all my friends.
Cheap son of a bitch. You were one of those people?
That was me.
I'd get so mad about that. Don't do the fucking cheat moves.
Or in Soul Calibur, I was Raphael every time. Soul Calibur 2, I remember. I was Raphael every time, and guess who won every time?
I never played Soul Calibur, and I was really bad at Killer Instinct. Because of the combo system, I'm like, Jesus Christ, what the... That was the first game that just perplexed me with the controls, was Killer Instinct. With these, like, fucking... People are pulling off 12 and 13, 14 hit combos like nothing. I'm like, I have no idea what you're doing. I don't want any part of this. Jago is badass, but I can't do it.
I remember playing that game too. Man, you're bringing back a memory for me.
See, that's why I wanted to bring up martial arts video games. There's not a lot of games like where you just play and it's basically... Like, imagine if they did a kickboxer game based on the Van Damme movie. Which, when we started talking and I told him about my insane love of all things Van Damme, I named off all my favorite Van Damme movies.
It's
and the scenes. And I have almost all of his movies on DVD. And that's why he got me into Donnie Yen. He's like, let me show you some real martial artists. You know, no disrespect to the Van Damme, but it's watered down by comparison to the people that are trained in multiple styles and apply this all the time. You know, like Jean-Claude Van Damme's impressive, but in real life, he might not do shit against Scott Adkins or Michael Jai White, both actors. Mm-hmm. Scott Adkins is like the most underrated martial artist in movies in America, in my opinion. The guy's fucking crazy good, and he's in a couple of those Universal Soldier sequels like Regeneration. He's crazy good. And Michael Jai White, if you don't know who he is, well, he was the guy that played Spawn in the Spawn movie way back in the 90s, and he's still around. And they were going to try to reboot the Blade series with him. Now
I was really hoping they would have.
Yeah, now they're talking about getting Wesley Snipes back.
Man.
Michael Jai White is the shit. He was in Black Dynamite. He's been in so many obscure, like, new, modern blaxploitation kung fu movies. The guy, a lot of his focus is Jeet Kune Do, which, circling back to that, was when Bruce Lee made his own system. He wanted his own discipline, and he thought, all these other disciplines that people do are very formal. And what I want is one that's just more practical, where it just kind of happens. Your movements are more fluid. So that the idea with Jeet Kune Do was be like water. Water flows. Mm-hmm. So it's more or less, instead of posing and waiting for your chance to attack or block, you just go at your opponent and you attack them before they get you. So you don't even have to go on the defensive, which is great. That's a lot of what Michael Jai White does. He's fucking great. Tony Jaa.
Amazing.
He is amazing.
Amazing.
And not a lot of people know him outside of like
Ong
Bak and The Protector, but he's been in a couple other movies that I've seen. Anytime there's like some obscure martial arts movie in the Red Box now, thanks to you, I just get it.
Yeah.
Even if I think it's going to suck, I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to get it.
And we get Donnie Yen in the new Star Wars movie.
And we get Donnie Yen in Rogue Squadron 1.
Which I'm very excited for. Yeah,
well, he's going to be a fucking Jedi. Why shouldn't he be a Jedi? The guy's... Just look up Donnie Yen, and he's done a lot of movies, but he also, I think, practices and has done competition in his training over the years. Mm-hmm. To study for the Yip Man movie series, he's actually talked to descendants of Yip Man himself. He's learned from the real people. He's the real deal. He's not one of these fucking... I mean, Chuck Norris, people joke about Chuck Norris, right? Just being a cheesy action movie martial artist.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris is no Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal's not a slouch. He is now because he's old and fat. Chuck Norris was in movies with Bruce Lee. Chuck Norris was around when Wing Chun was first being put into practice and taught to Bruce Lee. So Chuck Norris is a badass more than most people realize.
Oh, yeah, because Bruce Lee actually, when he was doing his movies, he handpicked Chuck Norris. It's like, hey, I want you in this movie because you're awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, Bruce Lee picks him, I pick him too, you know.
Well, right.
And also another thing about Michael J. or Jai White?
Michael Jai White.
Michael Jai White. I saw a YouTube video of him teaching Kimbo Slice Jeet Kune Do.
Really?
Yeah, now that Kimbo Slice is dead. But
yeah, it didn't really help him fight off that heart attack too well, did it?
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Kimbo.
Good.
If you didn't hear, Kimbo Slice died of a massive heart attack down in Florida a few days ago. 42 years old. 42. Probably doing the juice.
Likely. He's huge.
He must have been using fucking TRT.
Yeah.
Testosterone replacement therapy. A lot of older MMA and martial artists that still want to stay in form for competition will take synthetic testosterone to be jacked like a maniac still. What the fuck is that one guy? Kung Lee?
Yeah, Kung Lee.
That guy got busted for steroid use because a few
Really?
years ago there was video of him working out and just looking totally, unbelievably vascular and jacked up. And they took a picture of him afterwards. And he was so sinewy and defined for how he had been weeks prior. They're like, "There's no fucking way." Busted him, juicing.
Sucks. He was in a kung fu movie pretty recently too.
Was he?
Yeah, he's also huge too. It doesn't look like it, or maybe just by comparison, because I'm completely blanking on what movie this was, but he was a bad guy.
Of course.
And he fought the main good guy, and it was just just powered through, and it was amazing. That guy knows Sanchu, if you don't know that.
I don't know what that is.
Chinese version of Muay Thai.
Okay. Other than that, I mean, a lot of people like Chow Yun-Fat and Jet Li are kind of older now. Chow Yun-Fat's so fucking old now.
Is he?
And people are probably like, what the fuck? Why do I care right now?
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Which is why I'm going to switch gears now, and I promised that I would debut the new bit, and god damn it, I did, and I didn't tell Mr. G. Fry here that this shit was going down ahead of time. So, it is time to play the first ever edition of
Guess Who Karaoke Roulette.
So what we are going to do is, this is a concept I came up with, where one famous person, 5 clues. You get 3 chances to guess. If you guess it, I end up singing some crappy pop song. Okay. If you do not guess it by the end, you will end up singing some crappy pop song of my choice. And if I have to write the lyrics down for you, I will.
I am terrible with celebrities.
If I have to go upstairs and get a fucking Ace of Base CD to play you the song to let you know how you're going to sing it, I will do that. There's one up there. There's also a Real McCoy CD, and there's some on my laptop here. I've been downloading some 90s dance pop. Mm-hmm. I might make you sing Corona's Rhythm of the Night.
Wow, you could edit and make me actually sound good, too.
I could, but I'm not going to. The point is just self-deprecation for the sake of how hilarious it is hearing people that aren't prepared to sing and don't like to sing. And a lot of individuals weren't necessarily down with the idea, but god damn it, it's fun. The show's about fun and fun-ucation. Because we educate while we're having fun. Yeah. So, would you like the person in my left hand or my right hand?
I'm left-handed, so left.
All right. Clue number 1. Real name is Leslie. Buddy, shut the fuck up. Clue number 2. Famous for athletics, comedy, and singing. Any ideas yet? Buddy, I can't tell what you're saying. If you're guessing, you're probably getting it wrong. Clue number 3. Very well-known philanderer. Do you know what that means?
Is it like a philanthropist? But
no, it sounds like it, yeah. A philanthropist does things to help other people. A philanderer sleeps around on their spouse. Has extramarital affairs. Number 4. Known for working with the Lights On Foundation. Mm-hmm. Any idea yet?
No.
I promised that clue number 5 would always be kind of like a softball over the plate. Just because most people aren't going to want to sing, and I love to sing. Clue number 5. Major proponent of USO programs.
What?
The USO shows.
No.
You have no idea.
I have no idea.
I want you to take at least one guess as to who this might be.
Michael Jordan.
No!
That's your first strike. Guess number 2?
I'm going to go with Buddy's Meow.
It's not Buddy's Meow. He's guessing something. It's not Garfield, Buddy. Okay, here's your last guess, and I will give you one more clue. It is a white man.
It's a white... Oh, wow. That could be anybody.
Right. Because history. Disproportionate amount of successful white people. If you're white and you have a penis, usually you're doing pretty good. Huh.
You're hired.
I should mention again that Mr. G. Fry here is part Filipino.
Yep.
So,
partially.
Your last stab at this.
Am I allowed to look at the piece of paper?
I don't care. I wasn't stupid enough to write the person's name on there. Those last 4 on the bottom are the song options.
Oh, wow. Now I'm just looking at the song.
The song options. Now I'm distracted by what I might have to sing here.
Athletics,
comedy and singing.
Athletics, comedy, and singing. Very known philandering.
Sleeping around.
Okay.
Getting some strange.
You write really fast. Known for working with the Lights On Foundation. Major proponent of USO programs.
This is your last strike.
This is my last strike, yeah, I know.
And then I get to pick the song. Do you know how to sing any of those songs that are on the bottom?
3 and 4.
Yes!
What is number 1? What is that?
His birth name is Leslie.
Yeah. No. The song. Number 1 for the song.
All That She Wants by Ace of Base. The quintessential 90s pop song. Jesus Christ.
Dang, I'm going to be singing today. Wow, I didn't expect...
You will be singing today.
I didn't expect my day to end this way.
Well, it's fun for me. Shot in the dark?
Michael Phelps.
No. Michael Phelps.
That's the only white athlete that I know. I don't know any other white athletes.
I want you to sing I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys, and just so you know, it was Bob Hope.
Bob Hope?
Leslie Bob Hope.
Oh, wow.
Bob Hope of the USO shows.
I didn't even stand a chance on that one.
I did. Well, I wanted to make it somewhat challenging, but I thought the USO thing would be him standing up there on the stage in a uniform with a golf club over his shoulder, a cigar hanging out of his mouth, and the fucking Gipper hat on, and he's entertaining the troops. I thought you would get that. So, thank you for partaking in the inaugural edition of Guess Who Karaoke Roulette. Now making his singing debut on Blumpkin&Friends, singing the Backstreet Boys' I Want It That Way, and you better make it sexy, will be G. Fry himself. Ready? Go. Don't be embarrassed, just sing.
I want it that way.
Keep going.
That's all I know.
That's all you know.
That's all.
God, why won't you know? Why don't you know more of the song?
Because while you were listening to Backstreet Boys, I was getting the crap kicked out of me by my instructor.
You got to get on the base of the mic.
Oh, wow.
And you sing, "You are my fire, the one desire. And I know
we both don't know it.
I'm not gay, but I want it that way." You just overloaded the mic, you son of a bitch.
It turned red, didn't it?
Wasn't that fun? Isn't that a fun bit?
That was not bad at all.
I hope the audience enjoyed that. I thank you for joining us on this episode of Blumpkin&Friends. You can interact with the show. The brand new Twitter account for this show, at Blumpkin Show. That is at Blumpkin Show. Virtually impossible to fuck up. I am the Reverend Johnny Blumpkin. This has been my friend
G. Fry.
Okay, I was waiting for the... A good night.
Shoryuken! Shoryuken! ありがとう。俺は俺の足で歩く。綺麗な靴。また汚しまくる。シューレース外す。